Today we talk about exercise a little bit and the fact that we are animal creatures and we're made to move. Today's society is largely sedentary. We sit at desks, we take a bus, we take a car, and there's a lot of comfort. We are very spoiled as a species because we don't have to run away from a lion, we don't have physical predators for the most part that we need to escape from, unlike our ancestors. And our genes are still built such that in order for the body to function and for the body to stay alert and energetic, it needs some stimulation, it needs some level of stress. Not too little, not too much, but essentially we need stressors. And you know that when astronauts go into space, they don't have any gravity, they come back and their bones are super fragile. And the reason the bones are super fragile is because there's no gravity in space and there's no stress. So today I did a ride on the bike with my friend Alain, and we did about 30 miles, and it was really great. It was not raining, it was a little bit cold, but you know, cycling is one of the ways to get out, and it has this built-in interval training method inside the ride because you always have some hills somewhere. There's always a way to recuperate in downhills or in flat. You can get very chatty. We chat during the flat, we discuss a lot, and we go slower as a result, just to be conversational and to not just push it. And then on the hills, we sort of really push it, and that gives us this alternation of rest and exercise, and rest and exercise, and rest and exercise during that sort of 2-hour time interval. But what I wanted to talk about today was the fact that the exercise idea never works when we don't like it. And we look at the fact that there are some sports that we practice, and we come back, we are totally beat up. We're not just beat up during the day, we're beat up the next day, and we're beat up the day after again. And to some extent, that's the overcompensation. That's when the body sort of takes a little bit of stress and then repairs and then gets stronger. At the same time, if it becomes a bother, we're not going to exercise again. If we know that you know, exercise means no fun, if it just means pain, and that pain does not have any fun associated with it, we're not going to do it for a long time. Or, you know, we go to the gym and then we stop, and we go again and then we stop. And it's the same for running. You know, I run too, and maybe you do run, and you realize how much wear and tear there is in running, just because of the impact, the constant impact on the ground. Every stride is an impact, and over miles, over an hour or 2 hours, we can come back and we have some benefits from the run, but we also have a lot of wear and tear on the body, and that's just not, it's not really fun the next days. So the question is, when, you know, running is like this, how long do we keep doing this, and do we think that it's our sport? And for some people, maybe you're gifted, or maybe you don't have those pains. The answer is yes. And for some other people, and I guess I'm part of these, you know, the pain is such that, you know, I only run a little bit. But as far as cycling goes, 2 hours on the bike, when you ride every now and then, you can come back after 2 hours and there's no pain because there's no impact. For all of us, it's really about finding some sport that we like. And that sport doesn't have to be intense. It can just be walking. Actually, a lot of research shows that just walking regularly does as much good to the body as intense exercise. If you look at the centenarians, the grandmothers, people that are doing well over time, over a long period of time, they don't tend to necessarily be core athletes or super high athletes, but they always move naturally. And I think Dan Buettner talks about it in the Blue Zones. A really great concept of moving naturally. And that's pretty much what exercise should be. Exercise should be, to some extent, moving naturally. And that definition of moving naturally is your definition with your body, and what creates pain that is beneficial, and what creates pain that you think is just not worth it. And only you can tell the difference between the two. But the signals from your body and mind, and your willingness to do it again, the willingness to do it again over all these years, really tells you the strong signal, the little voice that says, this is your thing, this is your hobby. It turns out that for me, I've been biking since I'm 4 years old, something like this. As soon as I could walk, almost, I was biking, and it never left me. I've always been doing this, and it just happens to be my sport. But for some people it's running, for some people it's walking, for some people it's yoga or martial arts, others it's swimming. But all these sports generally tend to have a limited amount of impact, and something that you can do a long time in any kind of weather, circumstances, alone or in groups, and at any age. So hope you find what you like, and I'll talk to you soon.